Welcome, Epic Church. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. We have worship coming up, but before then, we want to go ahead and let you guys know that we also have these episodes on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Feel free to go ahead and check those out. Now, on to our service.
You're welcome in this place, Jesus. We ask you to move within us, Lord. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, moving in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, you are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, moving in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. I worship you, Jesus. I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you, Jesus. I worship you. And you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. And that is who you are. 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 Oh, that is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. Jesus, even when we don't see it, you're working in the silence, Lord. Move within this place, Jesus. We believe in you. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop, no. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. And you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. And that is who you are. 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 Oh, that is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. Jesus, you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are.
Hello, Epic Church. Thanks for tuning in with us today online. We wanted to welcome you to our Q&A series, and this is a shortened series where we answer a lot of important questions that we think are important and might be on your mind as well. And we want to remind you throughout this series, at any time, you can ask us questions, and we will do our best to respond to those questions during this series each week. Hey, Epic Church, thanks for watching us again this week. Just want to let you know, if you're not following us on our Instagram, you should go do that, because you're going to get live updates for when our services go live online, on Facebook and our website, and when we're doing our live services here in-house right here. Also, if you feel called to tithe or to give, if you're watching our messages online, and you're not able to make it to us, we have a giving page on our website. It's safe, it's secure, it's anonymous, and it's super easy to set up, and it's all on our website. Also, if you haven't checked out our YouTube yet, we have all of our content on YouTube, all of our past sermons. They're organized, they're in order for you guys. You can watch them anytime. Make sure to subscribe to that too. Catch you next week, Epic. And I wanted to open up with the question. First off, I think this is a big one that I think a lot of people might be asking. But is there only one Bible? Am I okay? And does it matter? Am I okay with just my NIV? Am I going to make it? Is there more than one Bible? Yeah.
That's a good question. Certainly, that's a question that we've been asked, and I'm sure pastors that are tuning into us and Bible teachers have been asked this question. And the answer is yes and no. We can begin obviously with the Torah, the Hebrew Bible, which we call Christians, we call that the Old Testament. So we have the Torah, and then we have the New Testament, and we call that the Protestant Bible. 66 books, Old Testament and New Testament. But then we have the Catholic Bible. The Catholic Bible has 73 books. And so they have some apocrypha literature in the Catholic Bible. And the question comes up, well, why did we remove those books from the Protestant Bible? And they were removed, even from the King James Version. And the original King James Version had the apocrypha literature in it, and they were removed. Martin Luther's Bible has the apocrypha in it as well. So you have the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, the Protestant Bible, the Old and New Testament, the Catholic Bible. So the reason I said yes and no is because even though the Catholic Bible has more books, it still has the Protestant Bible and the Hebrew Bible. So it's all there, foundation of the Hebrew and Protestant, 66 books, 73 books for the Catholic Bible. And then you have your Eastern Orthodox Bible, which is 78 books. Your Syriac Bible, again, 78 books, and they're a little different than your Eastern Orthodox Bible, and there was a split. There was the great split that took place around 10 AD with the Catholic Church, but it was a gradual thing. It just didn't happen in 10 AD. It was a gradual thing that was the Eastern Church was separating from the Catholic Church. And then you have your Ethiopian Bible. Your Ethiopian Bible is 82 books. So there, no, we don't just have one Bible. Depending on the canon, depending on if it's Eastern Orthodox or if it's Western Catholic Protestant Bibles, there are different books there that are included, and we began with the in Bible translations. From last I heard, there was probably about over 400 different Bible translations. And they're all translations from different codexes, different manuscripts. We were talking earlier today that there are no original manuscripts, and some of the older manuscripts that we have date back to about 500 AD. But they're very reliable. People say, well, if we don't have original manuscripts, how do we know that the manuscripts that we do have are reliable? And the answer to that is that they're probably 99.9% reliable and consistent in establishing orthodoxy. So there, you have several different Bibles out there that different religious groups, Western Christians, Eastern Christians, use in their liturgy, and use in their worship, use in their study. Wow. So I hope that helps some people out there that have thought that question: is there only one Bible?
Yeah, when I was a child, I thought King James was the original Bible. I think maybe a lot of us when we were children maybe thought that, but I remember that was my first Bible, and I couldn't make heads or tails of it because I was a kid, so the text was very difficult for me. And then as I grew, you've come to find out there's all these different translations and all these different languages. And now, being someone who studies languages and linguistics, of course it makes a lot of sense. You have to translate these books. You have to look to the different cultures at the time that were rising and how information was spread back in the ancient days, even now, how information is spread. It's very important. Is there anything or any resources that if somebody were wanting to get into researching these, are there any resources that you
you
think
can
that they can get started?
We're talking earlier, I downloaded the Universal Bible, and that has all of these Bibles in it, which is really interesting, to be able to read some of these apocryphal literature. Now a lot of this apocryphal literature was written in a period that we would call like the 400 years of silence, which is the last book of Malachi till the prophet John the Baptist appears in the New Testament. 400 years transpired during that time. And during that time, 1st and 2nd Maccabees, 3rd Maccabees was written, and just a whole lot of other literature was written. They weren't canonized. The Apocrypha wasn't canonized in the Hebrew Bible, but it does appear in the Septuagint. The Septuagint is the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible. And so it was probably a document that was used a lot throughout the New Testament. We still use that document today. which probably did have the Apocrypha literature included in the Septuagint. You have when it comes to translations, you have the Hebrew Bible, you have the Septuagint Bible, and then you have the Vulgate or Latin Vulgate translation, and then of course you have your King James version, and there are over 400 translations, American English translations. Linguistically, I think there's over 1,000. The Bible has been translated into over 1,000 languages. So
it's insane.
A lot out there.
And with all of the different translations, the different languages, the different versions, different histories dating back and everything. Also, what is your opinion on pastors, teachers of the Bible, when we are quoting, philosophers, great philosophers of history, Plato, Aristotle, Sun Tzu, all these great philosophers that are legendary throughout history? Where do they line up? Where do they match up? And if we are pastors who are using them during our messages, well, what does that say about us?
Yeah, that not too long ago, a friend of mine's, he posts a lot on social media, and he quotes a lot of extra biblical sources and material, and sometimes people they push back on that. I think because, number one, they don't understand church history, because philosophy played such a major role in first century history. Even Paul quotes poets, secular poets. In the 17th chapter of Acts, we see Paul quoting poets. In the book of Joshua, Joshua quotes Jasher, a book. Jasher, there's no book Jasher, at least not in our 66 books, but there is a book of Jasher, and it's quoted by Joshua. It's also quoted, and I think it's quoted in Chronicles as well. It's quoted in Jude in the New Testament. There seems to be a quote there that many scholars in Jude 1:9 that is reference to a quote from the book of Jasher. And Enoch, the book of Enoch. The book of Enoch is in the Apocrypha literature, and it is found in the Ethiopian and translation, and it's found in different the Coptic Bible. It also has the book of Enoch, and Jude quotes Enoch. So I think it's important that we understand the role that philosophers played in the early church. The reality is that many early church fathers were philosophers that ended up receiving the gospel, receiving the message, and receiving Christ as their Lord. And it could very well be the beginning of the evangelists, because these philosophers would go from town to town and just telling their stories. And people would actually pay to go hear them. Well, eventually these philosophers get saved. And they continue to do what they know best, but now their story changed. Now they're telling a story about Jesus. And certainly there was a mixture of the philosophical thought that was that was in conjunction with their newfound faith.
Yeah.
And they continue to spread the gospel. So being well read is, I think it's important that, and I would encourage young pastors to study philosophy, to understand philosophy, because it played such a major role and continues to do so in our Christian faith.
Yeah, I think that's a healthy way to look at it, because I think at times the more common argument is, oh, this is all I reference, this is all I read, and I think that's an unhealthy way to go about growing your faith and becoming grounded and more knowledgeable. I think even we can take reference. Even Jesus at his time was using folk tales and changing them bit and bit to communicate with the people at the time in their culture, which is, you would look at that and say, well, that's not biblical at the time, But even Jesus is knowledgeable within these things and what he grew up with the culture, and he's using those to his advantage to convey messages. And your comment about how these philosophers, most likely their theology is getting intertwined with their original philosophy, which I think is a very important subject as well, because we want to be able to listen to others and learn from others without being so rigid. Even the disciples had disagreements in their theology at the time and what they thought, which is insane to think about, but it did happen as well. And even now, we don't want to just toss away good information and good minds just because their theology might be a little more personal for them than it is for us, which makes a lot of sense. We all have our own theological.
Yeah, and in the early church fathers would have these debates, and it would be over doctrine, and they were definitely split over doctrine, but they were able to have these discourses, and they today the word heresy is just thrown out there so loosely.
Yeah.
And the early church fathers really reserved the word heresy for the very nature and essence of God. If there was a teaching that would contradict the very nature and the very essence of God, they were called heretics. And even then, there was still an ongoing debate on different, what they would consider at that time, early church fathers, different types of heresies. But these debates and these discussions continue to go on, and we have a lot of literature that addresses these debates and addresses some of these what they would refer to as heresies in the first, second, third, and even fourth century.
Yeah. Well, it's wonderful. I think what we're kind of, if you wanted to compartmentalize anything, or if you're just tuning in now, we're encouraging you out there to grow your faith by being open to referencing more information that is, both biblical and supplemental to your faith. You don't want to be rigid or on one thing. You don't want to get stale in your faith here. That's the time for our Q&A today, but we will be back next week. And I wanted to remind you guys, as we wrap this up, everybody watching and everybody viewing, or if you know anybody that hasn't seen this video, send it to them, and they're able to submit any question to us. And we encourage that for you to submit any question to us, and we will do our best to address those questions each week on this series. You can submit questions right here down below. If you're watching on Facebook, you can comment on it, and we will get back to you on that. And you can also follow us on Instagram. If you haven't followed us on Instagram, you can follow us right now. We're going to link that as well. Go ahead, send us a personal message, DM us if you want. Also, this video is going to be on YouTube later on today. So if you did want to catch up, or if you're just tuning in right now, you want to digest the video a little more, rewatch it again, or watch it from the beginning, go ahead and check out our YouTube channel. It's going to be up there. Also, feel free to comment below on our YouTube channel as well, and we'll answer questions there as well. And we're going to see you all next week. Have a blessed week, Epic Church.